the mayor, Don McCoy, with us today. Mayor, welcome to the show.
Fulshear offers a rare combo of peace, charm of a country town, paired with amenities, great school systems, both Katy and LCISD, and growth of a typical thriving suburban community.
The views and opinions expressed by the participants on this show are not necessarily those of Stewart Information Services Corporation, Stewart Title, or Stewart Insurance. Before you make any investment, you should seek the advice of your investment advisor or attorney.
Whether you're a real estate broker, realtor, homeowner, buyer, or seller, everything matters when it comes to real estate. This is Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title. Stewart Title's Bill Knapik and guests open the door to what really matters in owning, buying, and selling real estate. And now, Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title, brought to you by Stewart Insurance. Here to inform, entertain, and inspire, Bill Knapik.
Welcome to the show. It is Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title, a special edition as we have super guests all the way around. Once again, I'm your host, Bill Knapik, and we're going to start with the mayor of Fulshear, Texas. We hear so much about Fulshear, Texas, right here in the Houston area. People all around the country hear about Fulshear, Texas. It is growing like crazy, and we have the mayor, Don McCoy, with us today. Mayor, welcome to the show.
Well, hello, Bill, and it's good to be here and ready to answer a lot of questions if you have them.
Well, it's interesting because everybody, when we say Fulshear, Texas, I talk to people that have moved from somewhere else. They're in Fulshear. We talk to realtors about. Everybody has a positive response about Fulshear. So let's tell people what the latest is in Fulshear, Texas.
Well, as you mentioned, it is one of the fastest growing cities in the nation. Right now, we have seen an increase in the last 12 years from probably about 2,500, if I recall, when I first started with the Chamber of Commerce. We're close to 43, according to our website, 43,000 residents right now. That's a remarkable increase for our city. Now, what's going on is there's a lot of infrastructure going on that we're building. We're building roads. We're have the West Park Tollway that is expanding right on through Fulshear, Texas. 1463 creates a lot of headaches, I know, but once you get off into the areas of Fulshear that I love, such as our master plan communities, Cross Creek, I do Fulshear on Fulshear Creek, Fulshear, there's all kinds, Fulshear Run, a lot of Fulshears. But once you get off into those neighborhoods, the sanctuary, I got to tell you, it truly is remarkable that in the midst of all this construction and out west of Houston, you can still find some sanctuary in a town like Fulshear, Texas, especially with the growth that's going on.
It's really incredible. And I first talked to people, yourself, years ago. I think it's been about 10, 11 years where we first met. You were on the chamber. Right. But also I connected with the police force. And your brother, Captain Mike McCoy, Chief Kenny Seymour, I remember those guys as they were on the show. And we have to mention Officer Jennifer Edmonds, who is handling the dogs, Canine Bell, and then now Canine Blue. And the interesting, I bring that up because what you've done as mayor and your leadership team, but also you're working hand in hand with the police department. They connect, and you connect with the community in a way that I've not seen in other suburbs here in Houston or even beyond.
Well, Bill, I think one of the things you need to realize is probably many times the first things people encounter when they come through our town or visit, they probably may not know the speed limit or something like that, and they encounter our police department. But a police department truly is one of the best public relations arms a city can have. I am so fortunate to be the mayor of Fulshear that I don't have a police department problem. The only problem I'm having right now is recruiting good officers to keep up with the growth. There's a lot of competition out there, and not everybody wants to be a police officer. However, our outreach to our community through Captain McCoy, Kenny Seymour, Jennifer Edmonds, the social media page, if you want to really see a top-notch social media presence, reach out and look at the Fulshear Police Facebook page. It is truly entertaining. It's truly informative. And let me say, we're in the community on a regular basis. I, as mayor, try to attend everything I can in our city, being present. Our police officers are not shy. And I've heard it often said, I never felt so good getting a ticket. But
yeah, they're nice. They do in a certain way.
In a certain way. But I truly do believe the public relations and the things that they do on outside the box, they do. There's a deal that Captain McCoy does called Rookie Responder. He and I were talking one time about new drivers, and new drivers, they don't know how to react when they get pulled over by a police officer. And, you see things on TV with all the cameras. So he does a class, which is now being emulated and copied by other departments, where kids will come in and learn how to react and what to do if they get pulled over by a police officer. And they learn exactly how both sides work. And they come in grumbly, but they leave going, wow, that was so neat and so cool. And it really helps educate the new drivers on how to, and that's part of community policing. It really is.
Well, it's interesting. It was about 10 years ago, and I just told my friends this the other weekend, that I was in the Fulshear police car with Captain McCoy, right, but I was in the front seat. So I've never been in the back, fortunately. But we did a ride-along together for about a half a day. He was kind, and it was interesting to see Fulshear from the perspective of being with a police officer with a captain.
Bill, we also do something. I was in Citizens Police Academy number 1, and I think we're on Academy number 9 now. And this is where the average citizen can go through a 9-week course, and they put you in the seat of being a police officer and what it takes, the scenarios they meet. We even put them with pistols with simunition and in scenarios. It opens a lot of eyes. It really does.
Well, it's interesting and a whole different subject, but it's no surprise that police shows and crime shows are interesting. We have a fascination in how that dynamic works in our cities and companies and countries.
And I will say probably one of the biggest or most major factor of our growth is we are a safe city. I've heard different statistics, but we are number 3 in the state. I think number 1 is a gated community, so I don't know if we should count them or not, but still, safety is a primary focus. And if you can move to a town like Fulshear, Texas, I know you're going to feel safe.
We're talking with Mayor Don McCoy of Fulshear, Texas. Give us an idea, Mayor, what else, a day in the life, or at least a half a day in the life of a mayor, because I know you ran for mayor, you've now been mayor over a year or so.
Right.
So is it like what you thought it was going to be like? But what do you do every day? What are the mechanics of the position?
Well, much of it is being accessible and trying to answer a lot of different questions. I mean, you can't make everybody happy, Bill, but you sure try. And I love getting out and intermingling with the community. I was a server at Dozier's re-grand opening, and I love serving up and getting to meet the community because that's what it takes. And you got to hear from what their issues are. But I never thought as mayor, at this point, I would know so much more about infrastructure, water, roads, police, you name it. There's a lot that goes into being a public servant, and I applaud anybody who wants or wishes to go out and serve their community because there's a lot to learn, but the main thing is you want to really absorb it and be able to explain it to the folks out there that don't know all the ins and outs of government. And it truly is a fun job. I really enjoy making solutions happen. One of the first things we did is, the owner of the Savannah Bananas said, quit doing things people hate if you want to be successful. Well, nobody liked calling City Hall and getting a voicemail or that automatic system. So we now have live people answering the phone at City Hall.
Who would have thought of that? People actually answering the phone.
Answering the phone. So when you get put to another phone, if you do have a voicemail, you at least know you're leaving a voicemail for the person you're trying to reach.
It's great to go back to basics. And even in the real estate profession, the realtor that answers the phone right away or gets back to someone is the one that's leading the charge, no doubt. One of the things, as I looked at your bio on the website, you lived in a variety of places.
I did.
Not just Fulshear, Texas, but Venezuela, Mexico, Scotland, Iran. Is that?
Yeah. I tell you, my dad worked in the offshore oil construction business growing up, and I wouldn't trade any of those experiences for anything because it truly gives you a perspective on people and societies. and sometimes you just don't know how really good you have it right here in the good old USA. But the other thing that comes from that, Fulshear and Fort Bend County as one of the most diverse counties in the entire nation. I think it sits at number 3 right now as the most diverse county. And in Fulshear, we mirror that. And I meet people from Nigeria, the Middle East, India, South America, very big influx of Venezuelan community in the Katy and the Fulshear area. And what's great is they're people just like you and I. And you don't need to be scared of this. They have talent and they have things they can bring to the table. We just got to learn how to access it.
If you were to, and I'm sure you do, but when you look at the future, certainly you're looking ahead at a couple months from now. I know I saw the Facebook page about getting ready for the back to school and all the traffic considerations, things like that. That's already old news, I suppose. But as you look to the Christmas season, 2026, but Mayor, if you look 5 years ahead, what do you see, knowing what you know now and the people in Fulshear and those moving in? What do you see Fulshear in 5-10 years? Can you even imagine? What's the speculation?
Well, my speculation is, number one, Fulshear will always be where the heart is. People always say we've lost that small town charm. I'm sorry, buildings and infrastructure don't give a town its charm. I personally think it's the people. And if you spell Fulshear, Texas, all out as one word, heart is right in the middle. So I like to say Fulshear is where the heart is, and I can prove it. It's right in our name. But the other thing I see is our communities being built out, our infrastructure at par, and our mobility will be done, and we will have a wonderful community of places to shop and eat. We have commercial real estate is starting to kick off big time in Fulshear, Texas. And we have people looking to bring their commercial businesses to Fulshear, which is going to help sustain our tax rate or keep our tax rate low with sales tax. We don't want to be totally dependent on the residents and rooftops, but it's going to be a wonderful all-in-one community. You don't have to go far to enjoy our parks, which we're currently doing right now and rebuilding, revitalizing downtown with the Harris Street project. This takes time to do, but a lot of people want it now. We're in that I got to have it today society, but if just a little patience, and if you can just be Fulshear friendly, within the next 5 years, I think you're going to be really, really pleased with what we're going to be able to do in Fulshear and what we're going to have in Fulshear.
And of course, they could close those real estate transactions at our own Stewart Title right there in Fulshear, Texas.
Well, you're going to be right on one of the big, in fact, right across from where you are, there is a new restaurant. I think it's called Gather and Graze. And it's not a food truck park, but they're going to have food trucks that will supply a air-conditioned building with music, and you can sit down. So there'll be a variety of foods every week coming by these food trucks that'll plug in to the building and help do that. It'd be a great gathering place for families. It's tremendous.
Sounds great. We're with Mayor Don McCoy with Fulshear, Texas. And as we started out, Mayor, I want to bring this forth again if you want us to, and that is, you mentioned the Fulshear Police. There's opportunities if someone wants to be a law enforcement officer, and on this show we love those that protect and serve in a massive way. But if someone wants to be a police, there are opportunities right now in Fulshear. Is that correct?
Right now there is, and in fact we've instigated a one idea is where if you are or want to be an officer and you meet certain criteria, we'll pay for you to go to the academy, kind of like when you enlist in the service, and then when you get out, you serve us for 3 years. It's a unique way that Captain McCoy, who came from recruiting at HPD, very innovative, but it's getting more and more difficult to find those great officers. But if you're a great officer and you want people who truly love their police department, I can't say that enough. I have not met one citizen that gripes about our police department.
I think they're fantastic. Am I too old to be a candidate?
No, sir. Come on.
All right, I'm going to call Captain Mike here in a minute.
You can feed the dogs.
That sounds good.
I think what you should know about Fulshear, Texas, is the people that serve in our city hall as well as the city council. We work very hard on a regular basis to make sure we do what's right for every single citizen. But what's really great is we listen to our citizens. We try to take everybody's opinion and do what's best. I think it was Spock that said the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few. But let's take a look at it and see how we can make our city the best it is, the best it can be. That's what we want to do.
Well, Mayor, thanks for being with us. You're going to come back later in the show, but a special thanks. I want to say Captain Mike McCoy. Hope he comes back. Chief Kenny. Jennifer Edmonds doing tremendous work handling the K-9 patrol, and, of course, K-9 Blue. We say thank you to Fulshear and all police and law enforcement out there. Thanks for serving, and thank you for being with us. Let's tell people the website when they want to learn more.
You bet. If you just go to fulsheartexas.gov, fulsheartexas.gov, there's all kinds of updates and things on our website. Please go there.
Mayor Don McCoy, thanks for being with us.
You bet.
As we continue, let's talk to Maurice Nelson. He is a realtor with Keller Williams Premier. Hey, Maurice, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. Glad to be here.
Well, here you are, selling real estate in a tremendous way, helping buyers and sellers over there at Keller Williams Premier.
It is, and being a realtor, it's a lot of fun because you're really educating people. Because people may have transacted, within the last 4 or 5 years, but when they're doing it again, they still need to be re-educated on the process, how this works, setting an expectation and just being able to help people with a lot of times, which is the largest purchase that they'll make, and getting to the finish line is just a great achievement, and being able to do that for people, buyers and sellers.
No question. It is ever changing, the paperwork, the rules, the technology. Let's tell people geographically where you're doing most of your work as you help buyers and sellers.
So most of my transactions are in the Katy, Fulshear, Cinco Ranch, kind of northwest Houston suburbs right there.
And give us an idea at this point in time, take to the Fulshear Katy area as far as the marketplace right now. What's it like now? Because I'm hearing different things. Sometimes I'm hearing, it's really slow. And how is it?
So I'll tell you in Katy, from the metrics and the data that I use, homes that are being listed, they're on the market, an average in that area about 40 days. So just setting that expectation for sellers to be able to do that. It's all about how you're marketing the property, communicating with them, just having those discussions. There's a lot of new construction opportunities on that side of town. So some of these builders, they have inventory homes where you don't have to wait to get in. So a buyer can come in and move in that home within 30 days if they want, or there's actually an opportunity for them to build a dirt build. So they may take 4 to 6 months. So that way they can kind of plan their life around selling a home and then moving into that new home once it's complete.
And right now in your work, are you helping, and it's going to change through the year, through the months, but are you helping more buyers or more sellers now? What's the balance in your world?
So I'm about 60% buyers right now, especially going into the school year. Going into the school year, just working with those buyers who, want to be in the school districts that they want their kids to go into. Sellers are somewhat more established, so they're not listing as frequently or wanting to transact as fast as a buyer would be at this time. So the buyers are really more out at this time.
And when you deal with buyers, and again, take your recent history, maybe last 10, 15 transactions, how often are you running into a cash buyer?
So cash buyers, I'll say, on my listings, every listing that I put out, there's going to be a cash buyer that's going to come in and want to purchase that property at a cash price, so at a lower price. So they're all, ambitious to say, hey, if this realtor hasn't presented any offers to a seller, let me just throw out a cash offer to see if it takes. And everybody sells for different reasons, right? So a seller may, go against a realtor's desire or wishes to list at a certain price and want to be a little higher. But if he doesn't have any offers and that cash buyer is coming in, they may say, you know what, I'll take it.
And the cash buyer many times will know this, and they'll look for those deals, I'm imagining.
They will, but, there are some cash buyers that know the strength of their cash offer as well. So if they come in at full price, because on a cash offer, you don't have to wait 2 or 30 days to close. You can close in 10 to 15 days. So if they're really motivated and, they have that opportunity to pay for a home cash, those are some of the strongest offers.
That sounds pretty good. So if I'm a seller and I see this person coming along, I'm going to like that.
You're going to love the cash offer because there's less chance that it'll fall out, on day 29, or that there'll be some type of hiccup, that buyer loses their job or something like that. And now you've been expecting to transact or sell your home, but you can't because of XYZ reason, where cash offers are a little bit stronger.
And as far as other buyers that are out there using mortgage companies and so forth, how many buyers are you seeing that come outside of Texas? You seeing much of that anymore? I
am. So it slowed down a little bit, but there's still, I work with relocation companies, and those buyers are coming in. So clear need where they need to buy. About 10% of my business, so not a lot, are those people that are coming from outside of Texas, and they're coming because of what they see on social media, the diversity of the Houston metro area, cost of living, no state income tax, all those good things, which is really one of the reasons why my family and I moved here 5 years ago as well.
Where'd you move from?
Chicago, Illinois.
Interesting. I moved from Chicago too many decades ago, in fact, in the western suburbs of Chicago, and here I am these years later.
And we love it.
The interesting thing, and I don't know if you recall or felt this in Chicago, but it was a very friendly town.
Chicago is a very friendly
much colder
town.
than Texas, but it had the same warmth and personality that we have here.
It does. Chicago is a big city where it's there's a lot of opportunity, a lot of culture there. Again, but you will battle those winters. My family just loves it here in Texas. Like no more snow, no more having to
scraping the windshield, the ice.
Yep, and never pour water on it because it'll crack your windshield.
I didn't know
it won't
that.
defrost the windshield.
I'll keep that in mind next time I'm up in the tundra somewhere. But also, as far as when did you get into real estate? When you got to Texas?
So about a year after.
What was your motivation to get into this?
So I've always wanted to get into real estate. Even when I was younger, I was in hospitality for a number of years and wanted to transition from that into real estate. COVID really allowed me to take that deep dive into real estate because it was really booming in Texas. Testing, a little bit of dedication, a little discipline, and you can get your real estate license. As long as you have your wits about you, honesty, integrity, things like that. And that is just really what I wanted to do to be able to help people, again, with one of their largest purchases that they're going to make in their lives.
And real estate is so important in so many ways. But as far as the things that, if you were to tell someone that maybe if you had a son or daughter and they said, hey, Dad, I want to be a realtor, what are the things that you've noticed that make a good real estate professional, a good successful? What attributes should they have, you think?
I think someone who's able to communicate well, and, everybody's not going to know everything, but even as a realtor, sometimes we're asked questions about things we don't know. So if we don't lie and just say, hey, let me follow up with you with that, or we can go from, based on experiences, right? Because people want to do business with people that they like and trust. So if you have some likability to you, people know that they can trust you, they're going to transact with you. And then after they transact with you, they're going to tell your friends, their friends about you, right? Because if you have a bad experience, you tell 20 people. If you have a great experience, you tell 5. So, you want to make sure that you put yourself in the position to have those great transactions where you are trusted. They believe everything that you are telling them for the resource that you were, and just kind of keep that trickle effect and keep it going.
We're talking with Maurice Nelson with Keller Williams Premier. I think it's an advantage. Keller Williams Premier, the fact that they are national, but also they're international. Is that true?
They are international.
So you have a company that has the pulse on a lot of different type of markets in all these places. But I would think every now and then you would have meetings and you get to benefit from what's going on in other places. What are some of the things that they talk about during the meetings as far as just real estate and trends in general that people might find interesting?
How we maybe we're transitioning from maybe a more traditional seller's market into a buyer's market, and how to overcome some of those challenges and objections in that shift. So before, teaching people how to really handle the differences in when you used to be able to put an offer in, or a seller might get 5 offers and have to make a decision on which offer he's going to take. Now, as we transition into this buyer's market, a seller may get 1 offer and it's the best offer. So you have to speak about, hey, you're still paying a mortgage on this home. So every month that you're paying a mortgage, you're taking away from that net. Here's how we, really consider this offer and whether or not it's great for you and your family at this time. Do you want to wait 6 more months, or do you want to wait 1 more month for your real estate need?
So many things to think about. But I think that great thing about Keller Williams, they have some great insights, interesting insights into these markets. So therefore, you and the other agents at Keller Williams have a lot of benefits there.
You're right. And again, keeping agents educated, abreast of all the training, the difference in the trends, what's going on, and being able to be sharp. Because people want to work with realtors who don't sound like they know what they're doing, but they know what they're doing, and then that it works, and that transaction is going to attract. If you're working with me as a buyer, you want to know that I'm going to put you in the best situation. I'm going to negotiate for you to make that happen. The sellers that I work with, they pick me because my Keller Williams training. I'm able to give them the best opinion on where their price, where they should list at, and the realistic expectation of, here's what the data shows about your home being on the market at X price. Do you want to sell in 45 days, 90 days, 30 days? Here's what the data shows.
And training is ongoing. That's another great thing. Maurice, before we close this segment, what else do you want people to know about what you're doing?
So I really want to let you know that I love working with buyers and sellers. So for my sellers that are out there, I love hosting open houses. And as your listing agent, I'm the one that's typically hosting your open houses. Buyers, I've got a great 90s playlist and some Sonic gift cards. So if we need to go, see 15 homes, it's going to be a good time.
15 homes. Sounds like you've been riding with me when I go look. But putting that aside, Maurice, let's tell people how they can reach out to you in case they want to do just that.
So my phone number is 773-620-9969, or on my website, maurice.kw.com, and Maurice is Maurese. 773-620-9969.
Thanks for being with us, Maurice.
Thanks for having me.
Let's continue with Dan Munson. We're going to talk money as Dan is with Sunflower Bank. Hey, Dan, welcome to the show.
Good to see you again, Mr. Knapik. How are you doing?
Well, it's been a while, and it's good to see you right here in the studio. I forget where we were last time, but we were out and about doing some great things as far as I remember.
My memory says the same thing. It's good to be back here.
Well, here you are with Sunflower Bank, and you've recently made a change here, I think, in the last 5 or so months. Let's tell people what was the motivation for the change and what's going on at Sunflower Bank.
Well, it's all about making my job easier and getting more people into homes, making that process easier. So what I found with Sunflower is it's a great team, it's aggressive underwriting, and there's some cool products to get more people into homes, some more opportunity.
So as far as some of the tools then at Sunflower, it sounds like, Dan, that you've got some more tools to help in the buying process.
Exactly. A couple, if you don't mind. We've got 100% programming for professionals, which is, there's doctors, there's lawyers, there's architects and medical professionals. But being in an engineering town, we'll do 100% financing for engineers.
Well, there's a show first right there.
100%.
So if you're an engineer right here in this area, you have some advantages with Sunflower Bank.
That's correct. You don't worry about that down payment.
That's a pretty good thing.
I like it.
Innovation, that's definitely a first. There are so many type of loans, though. One of the things that mystify me in the loan process, how do you match the person or the family's loan that they should get? Because, again, there's so many. You get it if I'm an engineer or if I'm a veteran or whatever. It seems like that might be complicated, but demystify that if you would.
It's a series of if-then statements. And I think that a lot of times we make assumptions based on intuition, and intuition is often wrong. So what I do is just crunch the numbers. What's their credit score? How much do they want to put down? That kind of thing. And just narrow it down.
As far as when you talk to people, and a lot of times I'm going to guess people haven't purchased a home 7, 8 years, and when they come back into the market, they have to learn about the process, just the buying process, but also the applying for a loan process. What are the concerns that they mostly have as they approach you?
So there's always down payment and credit score and what's my payment going to be. There's always that. But I think one of the things we don't talk about is the psychology of it. It's like you don't ask somebody on a date because you're afraid they'll say no. You don't apply for a mortgage because you're afraid you'll hear no. And to me, it's about, your life bill is a movie. It's not a photograph. And so if you can't get a house today, that's not forever. Your life's a movie, not a photograph. So we're going to say not right now, but here's how we get you there.
So there's hope for someone, because a lot of people may not have their credit in the right place at this particular time or when they approach your company. So, but there is hope, and it sounds like you also counsel them through the process in case, hey, you're not ready right now, come back how long does it take if they're in a low credit score situation?
I've seen people fix that in 2 weeks. I've hung in there with people for 2 years. And I think what's really interesting about it is I've had people say, I had a grandma call me once. She's like 65, and she says, I've never owned a home before. Nobody in my family's owned a home before. We're renters. We're not owners. But I need to prove to my grandkids, I need to prove to my grandnieces and nephews that we are owners. And at like 65, she bought a house, and we got her. It took a little while to get her there, but we got her in to set an example for the generations to follow, and that was a big deal.
How often are you running into people, other than this grandmother was the first time, but I'm going to guess typically the first-time purchaser or first-time family is much younger, and typically how young are they when someone comes to you? I mean, what's the youngest?
Interesting. We're seeing a shift. So you keep hearing the news, well, it's in the 30s. It's in the 30s. And I think with this Gen Z, they've learned from some of the things the millennials did. And I've got a Gen Z kid right now, 23 years old, who's looking at buying. I've got a couple more that close to her, and they're around 24. And so this is a very engaged next generation here when it comes to finance and home ownership.
But at what point, from the credit company's perspective, do we start building our credit history? So if you're in college, a lot of kids go to college with a couple credit cards. Those not in college usually come out and get a job. So that's about 18 they're going into college. 19, would that be safe?
Yeah.
So I'd say early 20s. I mean, you've got, depending on if you graduated high school and now you're off to the world, 19, 20, you've got credit. If you're in college, probably 20, 21, 22.
I think, and also your perspective, seeing people's credit situations, whether it's an individual or a family, keeps you on top of being able to have good discipline and to advise people of good financial discipline. You've probably learned a lot of things because you're in this profession now about 30 years. I'm understanding.
About yeah. That's odd for me to hear. So what I see is that they've got a lot of good education. Again, these kids are getting educated. My twins are 23, and I'm impressed with how much they and their friends already know. One of the things I remind them of is credit scores are a software, and like any other software, there's different versions. And so when they look at their free credit score, maybe that's based on version 12 or 13. If they're asking for getting advice on how to fix a credit score, that might be based on version 12 or 13. Mortgage business works on version 4 or 5. And so don't believe everything you read. If you're going to get a mortgage in the next year, give me a call and let's talk about it. Let's get you educated.
So you actually have twins?
I do.
That could be a whole show right there. I'm imagining
yes, it could.
the dynamics of parenting twins. Give us a word what that's like for those of us that have children, but we don't have twins. What's it like, Dan?
Well, I'll tell you what.
They're probably listening, I'm guessing.
They will be. So if you got twins coming or little twins at home, it gets easier when they turn 5. Once they turn 5, they start playing together, and so it's less stress. Before that, it ain't easy. It's fun. Boy, girl, they look out for each other. So, my son says, hey, I'm thinking about dating that girl, and my daughter says, no. I'll tell you, the girls know more about the girls, and the boys know more about the boys, so that's fun.
It's like their own little advisory council together.
And they're really good about it. They look out for each other, and that makes me really proud.
Well, and then early on, as you're saying, you're proud of them as they've exhibited good financial discipline. Yeah. But I would guess some of that is you have instilled in certain training along the way to say, hey, guys, this is really serious. When you have a bill, you pay it ahead of schedule. I'm imagining somewhere you must have said that.
Yeah, and they're very good at learning through stories rather learning through failure or learning through pain. They learn through stories very well. Although my daughter did once, Bill, say, Dad, you're pretty proud of how we turned out. And yeah, you had a lot to do with it, but we're wired pretty good too.
Well, that's a pretty profound statement.
It was kind of hurtful.
I think we need to have her on the show here coming up. So what are some of the other things that people should think about, Dan, in terms of the loan process? What about the down payment? We hear different things. Some people think that you have to put 20% down. But what are the various down payments you've seen, let's just say, in the last 20 transactions? Because I know it's all over the board. But what numbers are you seeing there?
So I recently did one with T-Shack, which is a Texas program that helps you with the down payment and closing costs. Did one recently for 100% financing where someone's dad put a CD at the bank for about 20% of the loan amount, and we gave that borrower, that kid, a 100% financing, which is interesting because the dad has access to his money. The dad can borrow against that CD. It's not pledged forever. The kid's got 100% financing. And then 3% down for first-time home buyers, 5% down. There's so many solutions. You can't go through them all here. Just if you're interested, give me a call and let's learn the truth about how it works.
We're talking with Dan Munson with Sunflower Bank. So, Dan, what are some of the other things we should think about before we close this segment? Call Dan.
Call Dan. And Bill's a great guy. I mean, what else do you need to know?
That'd be a slogan if I were running for something. I don't know. But no, that's all good stuff. Let's tell people the website there at Sunflower Bank.
Very easy. It's mortgagedan.com.
I like that. Mortgage Dan. People can't forget that even if they wanted to.
I hope not.
Mortgage Dan.
We're hoping they remember it.
That's pretty awesome. So, Dan, let's give a final word, though. You were talking again, first time we've heard it, about engineers. So if there's an engineer out there looking for a loan, let's tell them again one of those distinctions there. It's what you do for engineer at your bank.
We'll do 100% financing.
Wow.
If you've been on, you don't have to be on your job for 2 years. So if you just graduated, we can get you in. If you've been out for a year and a half, we can get you in.
So if I'm a new engineer, I'm going to have some advantages when I go to see Mortgage Dan.
Yes, sir. And I'll tell you what, something, at our age, we don't know a lot of guys who are out there getting that 100% financing. They've got the down payment. But we know the managers in those companies who are recruiting and say, hey, Bill, you're a young engineer. Come work for me. And by the way, I can set you up with 100% financing.
Also, don't veterans have the 100% potential?
They do. Absolutely. And
so those are two categories.
My son's in the service, so we take good care of him.
We appreciate those that served. Dan, let's tell people how they can reach out to Mortgage Dan with Sunflower Bank.
MortgageDan.com, and all the information's there. The phone number is 713-480-1061. Don't memorize it. Just go to MortgageDan.com. 713-480-1061.
Thank you, Dan, for being with us.
You're welcome, Bill. Appreciate the opportunity.
In today's litigious society, it is imperative to have the proper insurance to offset the many risks facing your business, especially if you're a real estate broker. Your errors and omissions and cyber liability insurance can help limit the threat of these risks if you know what to look for. Stewart Insurance, 866-798-2827. StewartInsurance.com. That's StewartInsurance.com or call 866-798-2827.
Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title would not be possible without our partner, Stewart Insurance, with a focus in real estate and a special focus on real estate brokers. Stewart Insurance creates insurance plans to address the risks facing our industry today. They invest a significant amount of time helping real estate broker owners offset and manage their risks. Here he is, John Bramlett with Stewart Insurance. John, welcome to the show.
Howdy, Bill. Always a pleasure.
Well, here we are. Well, we've been on an insurance roll, as they may say, with great segments each and every week for many shows, but especially the last ones, you have some extra spice and great information.
Well, thank you. We're going to continue our series. So the first week we talked about home insurance and the key insurance indicators there, and we talked about auto and flood. So today is number 4 in the series, and we've got 5+1 key insurance indicators for umbrella coverage for an individual or a family.
I always forget about that umbrella coverage, and I think a lot of people, when they say, I got the home insurance, I got the car, I'm covered. There's the umbrella policy that's there to help.
There is, and it's a certain audience that it makes sense for. So that's what we wanted to talk a little bit about today was, again, the 5+1 key indicators for umbrella coverage. So the first thing to take a look at is understanding how much coverage do I need? And it's really pretty simple equation is at least equal to or greater than your net worth, because we want to protect your assets. So that's the purpose of it, is through some additional liability coverage to protect your assets. And those assets can be your property, and they can be your savings, they can be investments, and many times potential future income. So we want to keep that in mind, is that we want to make sure that we're covering at least equal to what your net worth is, but also want to keep in consideration what potentially future earnings are. So we want to make sure that we've got that protected. The next is we want to make sure that we've got coverage specifically to what the purpose is. So you want to make sure you've got bodily injury. So if somebody gets hurt on your property, you want to help property damage in case you were to damage somebody's property. And then you want to make sure that you've got personal injury. And personal injury is not a broken arm, but it's a broken heart. So you slandered me, you libeled me, you said something that offended me, you defamed my character. So that's what in the insurance world, what personal injury means. So it's not a broken arm, it's a broken heart. So you've done something or said something that's offended me. So we want to make sure that we've got that coverage. And then additionally, there can be things like underinsured or uninsured motorists, or if you're part of if you're a non-paid member of a not-for-profit board, you can get some additional coverage there. So it's important to understand, have the right amount, and then understand what the coverage availabilities are. But there are also factors that are under consideration on how those premiums are set and what coverage you may qualify for. And it's also, these factors can determine whether maybe you want to have umbrella coverage or not. So, what's your family's lifestyle like? So I know you host a lot of big parties at your place, Bill,
all the time,
and you've got pools going on.
Oh yeah,
you got pool parties, and you've got you're coaching youth sports, zip lines, and you're really active on social media, and you're commenting on everything and anything. And because of all those things, that's where you might consider having an umbrella policy. So just if there are more things that you're doing from a family lifestyle that is increasing potential risk, that's where having an additional umbrella policy might come into play.
And that's versus my twin brother that doesn't leave the house and never invites anyone over.
Yeah. That's right. I'm sorry. I was thinking of Bob Knapik, not Bill Knapik. Yeah, your brother Bob that does all those crazy
he's
things.
He's fantastic.
Yes.
I never see him, though.
Yeah. So again, the key is, understanding. Number 4 would be just what that investment and coverage is going to look like. So it can be relatively affordable considering what it's offsetting and considering the types of coverages that it's providing you. So it truly is protecting your assets. And then, they'll take a look at the risk factors that we talked about. Insurance companies will take a look at the location where you live, and then just kind of your individual lifestyle. But again, if you're really concerned about protecting those assets, it's a lovely coverage to have. And then number 5 is understanding the underlying policy limits. One of the things that you're going to have to do to qualify for umbrella coverage is that more often than not, an insurance company is going to want to make sure you have some minimum level of coverages on your home insurance and your auto insurance. So they're going to make sure that that underlying coverage is there, and then the umbrella becomes that buffer if you need additional coverage. So, for example, on auto, many times they're going to want to have up to $250,000 for personal injury, or $500,000 for bodily injury, or $100,000 for property damage, and then the home maybe $300,000 for personal liability. So they're going to want to have those levels, and if you do have that coverage, but again, every policy is going to be different, then you can add the umbrella on top of it to truly protect your assets.
And just like the term, the umbrella, it covers over several of these categories. Well put, yeah.
Yeah, and then the plus one would be if you do have an interest in having an umbrella policy or would like to learn more about it, speak to our team at Stewart Insurance, and we'd be able to help you out.
That's awesome, John. And we talked earlier about extended and continuous learning. At Stewart Insurance, it's safe to say every step of the way, you and the team and the associates led by Tom Carpentier are learning, and there's training going on constantly in this fascinating world.
Well, we want to make sure that, life is going to happen. And we want to make sure that when life happens, that our clients can get back to normal, whatever that normal may be, as quickly as possible. And understanding if and making sure that our clients understand what coverages they do and they don't have. And as long as they're comfortable with that coverage and the coverage makes sense for them at this point in their life, then as we've said many times before, that's our definition of being properly insured. And as long as that our clients are comfortable, then they are properly insured. So that could be very conservative coverage or very robust coverage.
John, that sounds fantastic. What else should we know?
Well, if you'd like to be properly insured, and that could be both an individual or family like we've talked about the last 4 weeks, but also, and we work with individuals and families all over the U.S., but also for real estate businesses. So we work with real estate brokers and realtors, lenders, property management firms, independent title and attorney agents on their business insurance, errors and omissions, cyber liability, general liability policies as an example. We can work with them as well to help them become properly insured.
John, let's tell people how they can reach you.
866-798-2827, 866-798-2827. They can learn more about us at stewartinsurance.com, and they can email us at stewartinsurance@stewart.com.
And one of the keys that you said earlier is you're helping people, you and Stewart Insurance, all over the United States, not just here in the listening area, our primary listening area, but beyond. For those listening on the internet in Pennsylvania, Indiana, wherever else, they can call
866-798-2827.
John, thanks for being with us.
Bill, always a pleasure.
And now, speaking of leadership, we have Mike Snyder leading the sales force for Stewart Title in a magnificent way, 24/7. Mike, welcome to the show.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate the magnificent part.
What about the 24/7? That's a nice touch, isn't it?
Well, yeah, thanks. There's setting expectations there, Bill.
Well, you were underwhelmed by that, but that's okay. I'll keep moving on. So you have some great information, and what's the word today, Mike?
So the word today first is many years ago, probably 30 years ago or so, I wanted to be the mayor of Katy. I lived in Katy, in old Katy, and my plan was to be the mayor. And man, we were going to have I was going to have a parade every Saturday. That was my goal. And then we got married, moved into New Katy, Cinco Ranch, and so I remind my wife every now and then that she crushed my dreams of being a mayor. But no, that was a little bit of fun there.
I'd vote for you, though. I would, in fact, move another mile in just to be in Katy to vote for you.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that, Bill. And if that happens, you'll be one of the first people
I'm going to call Maurice to help me sell my home.
My dude will do it. I know he'll get that done. Yeah.
That sounds great.
Yeah.
Well, I understand that do we still have a position open?
Yeah, I do. So I'm looking for a sales rep that will represent our Katy and Fulshear office. So we have an office in Katy, another one in Fulshear, same rep does that. By the way, it'll be next to apparently a great new food court, food trucks, and the office is right next to that. So pretty excited about that. But I'm looking for somebody to represent that office.
Sounds good. What else should we know?
Great place to be, great offices to be at, great sales reps across Stewart Title, all across the division. And even though this market's a little bit crazy right now, that I don't think anybody knows it better than the Stewart Title reps and how to navigate around that.
And no doubt, I'm a happy employee of Stewart Title coming up on 12 years, I think. So,
well, congratulations.
My anniversary is the day after Labor Day, so I'm very excited about that. Mike, let's tell people how they can reach you.
My phone number is 713-261-0472. That's 713-261-0472.
Mike Snyder with Stewart Title. Thanks for being with us, Mike.
Thanks, sir.
And now, speaking of Fulshear, Texas, the mayor, Don McCoy, he is back for a final word. Well, Mayor, let's tell people, what else should they know about Fulshear, Texas, or anything else?
Well, I tell you, one thing that's really awesome about Fulshear, Texas, is it is truly a great place to raise a family. I mean, there's a lot going on out there, and we are bringing that, still have that small town charm, but you still have every convenience of a big city. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it really does. And, of course, I want to encourage people, go to the Facebook page for the police department in Fulshear. They're going to find out great stuff and so many other things.
It's humor. It's a lot of fun. But also I just want to remind that, in the quality of life department, Fulshear ranks number 16 as one of the best places to raise a family in Texas. How about that?
That's saying a lot.
Yeah, 36 is the best place to live in Texas. And Texas is a big state.
It's
right?
gigantic.
And top 3 in overall livability in Fort Bend County. Top 3 safest city in Texas. Number 3 there. It's safe. It's attractive. And let me sum it all up in this, is that Fulshear offers a rare combo of peace, charm of a country town, paired with amenities, great school systems, both Katy and LCISD, and growth of a typical thriving suburban community. We just broke ground on a place called Fulshear Central that's going to be tremendous with a lot of things to do there. Big lake, walkable, interactive commercial property, and more of that's coming as well. So it's a perfect fit for families looking for connection, convenience, and the people are friendly.
They really are. And the website is?
FulshearTexas.gov. Website is FulshearTexas.gov. Fulshear, Texas is spelled out .gov.
Sounds good. Mayor Don McCoy. And once again, we say hi to Chief Kenny, Captain Mike, and Officer Jennifer, and, of course, K9 Blue.
K9 Blue, you bet.
He is back. Maurice Nelson, Keller Williams Premier. Here we are, Maurice, closing the show down. What else should we know about what you're doing? You'll help me sell my house if I want to move to Fulshear or to further into Katy?
100%.
All right. That's reassuring.
So one thing I want everyone to know is, if you have a real estate need, if you're looking to buy or sell, use a realtor. We're market professionals. We negotiate on your behalf. Some people go to new construction sites, master plan communities, and they're unrepresented. Not to say that there's anything wrong with that, but you want a professional to be able to negotiate, for you, terms and conditions. If you're selling your home, people may have heard before, a lot of for sale by owners sacrifice 20% to save 5 or 6%. So again, you want somebody that's going to market your home. You may be very busy. You don't have time to, market open houses and whether or not you're a new listing. Realtors love to do it, and we will do it for you.
Use a real estate professional like Maurice Nelson.
100% of the time.
That sounds good to me.
Sounds great to me as well.
Let's tell people how they can reach you.
773-620-9969. 773-620-9969.
Thanks for being with us, Maurice.
Thanks for having me.
He's back. I think they call him in some circles Mortgage Dan. Is that correct?
That is correct.
See, I have a good memory. That was only 10 minutes ago.
I'm impressed.
A final word, Mortgage Dan.
Well, I've been told that I'm approachable, easy to work with.
And it's
so
true.
I take the intimidation out of the process. Now is a great time to buy, and tune in next week because this guy's fun.
There you go. Thank you for that. That's
You're
a show
welcome.
first. Well, also, as far as just a quick 30-second day in the life of Mortgage Dan, what happens?
Oh, it's get up, get to work, follow up on phone calls to people who've got applications in with me or who are out looking for homes, get people approved, and answer more questions.
How many times do people say, "Hey, Dan, what's the rate?"
Innumerable.
Dan, let's tell people how they can reach you.
They can go to mortgagedan.com. Simple and easy, mortgagedan.com. And if they want to call, 713-480-1061. Again, 713-480-1061.
Dan, thanks for being with us. And thank you all for listening to Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title. I am your host, Bill Knapik, together with John Bramlett, Mike Snyder, all of us at Stewart Title and Stewart Insurance. We appreciate you listening, and we will see you next week. Go to Stewart.com/radio. That's right, you can see the cast of characters, the special effects, simply by going to Stewart.com/radio and access the show archives. Thanks again. We'll see you next week.
FulshearTexas.gov.